5 dangerous energy vampires that target dark chosen ones. We all walk through life believing we are just people, just bodies moving through time and space, going to work, loving, sleeping, and waking again. But there is a secret about you that very few will dare to tell you. You, yes you, are a being of immense, radiant energy. But some of us, we are not just light. Some of us are born in darkness, shaped in silence, and chosen in suffering. We are the dark chosen ones. And while that sounds mystical, even poetic, it is a path carved in pain, in rejection, in isolation, and in the invisible wars that rage within us and around us every single day. But what if I told you that your suffering isn't random? That the betrayals, the loneliness, the inexplicable heaviness you carry, that all of it is because you are being targeted, not by people, no, but by something far older, far more insidious. You are being hunted by energy vampires, and not just any kind. These are the 5 most dangerous types, and they have been feeding on beings like you for millennia. Because the truth is this: the brighter your potential, the darker the forces that are sent to drain you.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
Now let me ask you something deeply personal, something you may have never dared to say out loud. Have you ever felt like you were born into a family that never truly saw you? Like your very existence triggered resentment, jealousy, or passive aggression from people who should have loved you unconditionally? That was not your imagination. That was your first encounter with the first energy vampire, the familiar host. These are the ones closest to you: parents, siblings, even lifelong friends, who unconsciously act as portals for draining your energy. Not because they're evil, but because your soul's light reflects everything they've repressed. Your very presence activates their shadows. So what do? They attack. They mock. They dismiss your insights. They gaslight you into thinking you're the problem. But the truth is, they are feeding on your confusion. Your self-doubt is their feast. Your shrinking makes them feel tall. When you are a dark chosen one, you are forced to awaken in a house that may never feel like home. You are the black sheep, the alien, the odd one out, and that role wasn't chosen by you. It was assigned. But here's the paradox: being the black sheep was the first sign that you were chosen. You were not born to blend in. You were born to transmute pain into power. And that power is exactly what makes you a threat to the system of energetic control that governs this world. Now, let's go deeper, because as you break free from the familiar host, you'll meet the second vampire, the false light giver. This one is more dangerous than the first because they come cloaked in love, in spirituality, in healing. They appear as mentors, gurus, lovers, or friends who see your potential. But what they're really doing is trying to harness it. They are the ones who say all the right things, who make you feel high, accepted, powerful, until you start to rise. That's when they begin to sabotage you subtly. They become cold, distant, or worse, they weaponize your vulnerability under the guise of helping you grow. This vampire feeds on your spiritual ambition. They know you're meant to awaken, so they pretend to guide you, only to keep you circling around their orbit. They don't want you to ascend. They want you to orbit them forever. Let me ask you something. Have you ever met someone who seemed absolutely perfect, too perfect only to realize they were slowly draining your willpower, your confidence, your clarity? That's the false light giver. They are the most seductive of all, because they don't attack your darkness. They exploit your light. And once they've had their fill, they leave you confused, doubting your intuition, and exhausted from a spiritual high that was never real to begin with. Now imagine you've escaped that vampire too. You begin to stand in your power. You meditate. You journal. You create. You begin to feel free. But then you meet the third vampire. This one is ancient, cosmic, the collective shadow. This isn't a person. This is a force, a field, a frequency that moves through culture, media, social norms, and even spiritual communities. It tells you to be nice, to be small, to not take up space. It tells you that your rage is toxic, your ambition is ego, your sadness is weakness. It tells you that healing is linear and that love always feels good. But you know better. You know that real transformation is messy. It breaks you open. It brings you to your knees. The collective shadow is the vampire that punishes you for being real. It wants you to perform your healing, not embody it. It wants you to use spiritual language to hide your pain, not transmute it. It wants you to bypass your darkness and call it transcendence. But you dark chosen one, you were born to descend before you ascend. You were born to walk through hell with your eyes wide open. And that terrifies the collective shadow, because if you awaken fully, you expose the lie. You become the glitch in the matrix. You remind people that their discomfort is sacred, not something to avoid. So what do? They mock you. They cancel you. They isolate you. But here's the secret: isolation is sacred. It is the womb of transformation. When the world rejects you, it is not punishment. It is preparation. By now, you are probably wondering, why me? Why does it feel like I have to carry so much pain, so much pressure, so much depth that no one else seems to understand? Why was I born into this body, this family, this life? What did I do to deserve this path? Let me tell you something that might shake your soul. You chose this, not with your mind, but with your soul. Before you came here, you agreed to walk this path so you could become something the world has never seen before. You are not here to repeat history. You are here to alchemize it. You were born into lineage lines that needed healing. You were born into systems that needed to be dismantled. You were born at a time when the world is addicted to surface-level light, and your darkness, your depth, your truth, it is medicine. But medicine is bitter before it heals. And that is why the vampires come. Because when you begin to remember who you are, when you begin to reclaim your energy, your presence becomes dangerous. You don't need to talk. You just walk into a room and it shifts. People either open or close around you. They either mirror your truth or attack it. And that's the gift. Your presence reveals where others are hiding. So I ask you now, are you willing to walk this path fully? Are you willing to be misunderstood, rejected, even hated for the sake of truth? Can you hold your power without needing validation? Can you endure silence, not as punishment but as initiation? The next vampire you will face is even more cunning. It hides in plain sight, disguised as your own shadow. It is the one that waits for you in your most intimate moments of doubt and despair. And to meet it, you will need to go even deeper. The mirror demon, when the vampire is you, and how to defeat it. We've journeyed through the outer layers of the war, the familiar host, who drains you from childhood, the false light giver who seduces your soul under the mask of love, and the collective shadow that suffocates your power with societal conditioning. But now we must face the most dangerous vampire of all, the one no one wants to confront, because it doesn't live out there. It lives within. This is the mirror demon, the part of you that learned to survive by betraying your true self, the part that became an accomplice in your own suppression. It is the vampire you unknowingly nurtured, and it is the one that holds the key to your liberation. Let's not pretend this is easy, because when you've been drained, gaslighted, and rejected for being who you are, a part of you inevitably splits. That split creates the shadow self, a fragmented identity that you construct to stay safe. You start to dim your light before others ask you to. You silence your voice before others get the chance. You anticipate abandonment, so you abandon yourself first. That's the mirror demon. It is your internalized trauma, your defense mechanisms turned into a persona. It whispers to you in your own voice, don't try too hard. Don't shine too bright. You'll only get hurt again. And you believe it, because it sounds like you. But here's the paradox, the mirror demon isn't your enemy. It was created to protect you. It's your inner child's bodyguard. But the problem is, it no longer serves the adult you are becoming. It doesn't want you to evolve, it wants you to survive. And survival is not the same as thriving. So when you begin to awaken, to seek truth, to step into your purpose, the mirror demon panics. It triggers self-sabotage, procrastination, perfectionism, apathy. It will make you feel like you're lazy, unworthy, not ready. But that's not laziness, it's fear trapped in your nervous system. That's not unworthiness, it's decades of internalized rejection. And that's not you. That's not your soul. So how do we defeat this vampire? We don't. We integrate it. We meet it. We listen. We hold it with compassion, not contempt. Because here's the truth no one tells you: your shadow is not evil. Your fear is not weakness. Your pain is not a curse. They are the parts of you that loved you enough to shield you from a world that didn't know how to receive your truth. And now, as a dark chosen one, your job is not to destroy yourself, but to reclaim every piece you've been taught to hate. You don't ascend by bypassing your darkness. You ascend by owning it, by loving it, by making it holy. Let me ask you something you've probably never dared to ask yourself. What part of you are you still afraid to bring into the light? Is it your anger, your sensuality, your ambition, your grief? What truth are you still hiding because you fear it will make others uncomfortable? That's the doorway. That's where your mirror demon lives. And that is where your greatest power is buried. See, most people think spiritual power is about radiating light, chanting mantras, or staying peaceful. But real power, the kind that changes destinies, is forged in the fire of your own shadow. It is built through nights of crying alone, through confronting your deepest shame, through forgiving yourself for what you had to do to survive. That's where the gold is. That's where the alchemy happens. And vampires hate alchemists. Because alchemists don't just protect their energy, they transmute it. They take poison and make it medicine. They take pain and make it purpose. So if you feel broken, shattered, lost good, that means the old you is dying. That means the mirror demon is being exposed. And exposure is the first step to integration. But don't rush the process. You're not here to be perfect. You're here to be whole. And wholeness includes your wounds, your rage, your hunger, your confusion. Everything inside of you is sacred. Everything. Even the parts you were told to hide. Especially those parts. You are not too much. You were just born into a world too afraid to hold you. But now you are remembering. You are awakening. And as you do, the mirror demon will resist. It will beg you to stay small. It will make you question everything. That's its job. But your job is to sit in that fire and say, I love you, but I no longer obey you. You are the dark chosen one, not because you are broken, but because you are whole enough to walk through hell and still remember your light. And soon you will face a vampire that doesn't come from this world, a force that preys on your gifts, your vision, your mission. And to face it, you will need everything you've learned so far. The dream leecher, how spiritual gifts are hunted by the invisible parasite. There comes a moment on the path of the dark chosen one when the world outside has grown quiet. You've faced your past. You've begun to integrate the pain. You've stared down the mirror demon and started reclaiming the fragmented pieces of your soul. And just when you think you're ready to rise, to finally live the life you were born to embody, something strange happens. Your dreams begin to fade. Your motivation, once burning, now flickers. You start to feel exhausted again, but not from chaos, not from trauma, but from nothingness. as if something unseen is sitting on your chest while you sleep, as if your creative fire is being siphoned off in your sleep. This is not burnout. This is not laziness. This is the silent feeding of the dream leecher, the fourth and perhaps most elusive of the energy vampires. The dream leecher doesn't scream. It doesn't confront. It doesn't manipulate you like the others have. It waits. It waits in the background, watching your growth, your expansion, your potential. And when you begin to shine too brightly, it slips in. You won't see it. You'll feel it through subtle self-doubts, random fatigue, a fogginess that clouds your sharp intuition. It will make your dreams feel distant, unreachable. You might still talk about them, still journal about them, still visualize them, but the fire to move toward them feels dull. And here's the painful truth. That's not you giving up. That's your vision being siphoned. The dream leecher is not a person. It is a parasitic force that lives in the astral and energetic planes. It feeds not on your body, not even on your emotions, but on your purpose, on your gifts, on the future timeline you were meant to walk. It targets the dark chosen ones specifically because your dreams aren't just dreams. They are encoded missions. Every time you create, speak, channel, or offer your medicine to the world, you disrupt the frequency of unconsciousness. You activate others. You create ripples that shift the collective. And in a world enslaved by energetic systems designed to keep humans asleep, your dream is rebellion. Your purpose is war. Let me ask you something. Have you ever had a period in your life where you were full of vision, full of ideas, but every time you tried to move forward, something invisible pulled you back? Not just external setbacks, but internal paralysis. That's the leecher. It doesn't want you to stop dreaming. It wants you to keep dreaming without doing. It wants your purpose to stay in the realm of imagination, never grounded, never real. Because as long as your vision is unmanifested, it remains safe, ineffective. So how do we fight an energy that doesn't speak, doesn't show itself, and doesn't use fear or manipulation? We have to anchor our dreams into the physical realm. We must act. We must create. We must move. Because the leecher cannot feed on what is rooted. It can only siphon what is still floating. That's why so many chosen ones remain in cycles of endless learning, endless courses, endless spiritual preparation, but never execution. The leecher thrives in limbo. This is why the path of the dark chosen one demands discipline, not just emotional healing, not just spiritual awakening, but devotion to action. You must become a vessel through which your dreams incarnate. You must write the book, launch the project, speak the truth, build the platform, not for ego, not for fame, but because the dream itself is a sacred weapon. It is your soul's blueprint for revolution. And every time you delay it, every time you doubt it, something unholy takes another sip of your life force. But here's where it gets deeper. The dream leecher doesn't just feed on your dreams, it uses them. It redirects them. That's why you'll see your ideas show up in other people's hands. That's why someone else will launch the exact thing you were too afraid to. Because when you don't claim your vision, the energy goes somewhere else. The leecher will package your genius and hand it to someone more aligned with the system it serves. And you'll watch from the sidelines, wondering why you feel like a ghost in your own life. That's not coincidence, that's theft. But you can reclaim it. Right now, in this very breath, you can declare that your dreams are no longer negotiable. You can decide that procrastination is not a personality trait, it's a trauma response. And trauma can be healed. You can recognize that the fatigue you feel isn't yours, it's the weight of your unfulfilled destiny pressing against the walls of your soul. And the only way out is through action, through devotion, through showing up for your vision, even when it makes no sense, even when you don't feel ready, even when the world isn't watching. You must remember, your dreams chose you for a reason. They are not random. They are not replacements for a wounded childhood fantasy. They are assignments. And if you don't fulfill them, the world will suffer. Because there are people's souls waiting for the medicine only you can deliver. And if you let the leecher win, those souls remain asleep. The ripple effect ends. So, I ask you now, what are you delaying? What sacred vision lives in your bones that you keep pushing into someday? What life have you been dreaming of but not building? Because in the next chapter, the final vampire will not come for your light. It will not come for your dreams. It will come for your legacy. And it will do so with one final brutal trick. The final vampire, how legacy killers bury chosen ones before they die. There is a silence that comes right before the final attack. A deceptive calm. You've survived the familiar host, escaped the false light jiver, confronted the collective shadow, and reclaimed your dreams from the dream leecher. You're standing taller now. You feel clearer, more grounded. You've begun to believe in your mission. But this is the moment the fifth and final energy vampire waits for. It is not loud. It does not feed on your energy or your purpose. No, this one is more sinister. It feeds on your potential legacy. It waits for you to get close to greatness, close to real impact. And then it whispers, you've done enough. This vampire is called the legacy killer. And what makes it so dangerous is that it doesn't come to destroy you, it comes to convince you. Convince you that you've already done your part. That you're too old. That it's too late. That your voice has already been heard, or worse, that no one is listening. It doesn't drain you, it lulls you into spiritual sedation. It wraps you in comfort, in routines, in the illusion of completion, and slowly it buries your fire under blankets of contentment. You might still be alive. You might still be meditating, helping others, even inspiring people. But inside, something begins to dim. The urgency to act, to go deeper, to speak louder, it fades. And that's when the vampire wins. Because legacy isn't about what you've done. It's about what you could have done but didn't. Legacy is what echoes after you. And this vampire ensures that when you die, there is no echo, just silence. Let me ask you something dangerous. If your life ended tomorrow, would your soul be satisfied? Would your message be heard? Would your gifts be fully delivered? Or would there be books unwritten, songs, truths unspoken? Would there be people who needed your voice but never found it because you hesitated too long? The legacy killer thrives on hesitation, on comfort. It loves when you say, I'll do it next year. It celebrates every time you lower your standards just to fit in. It smiles when you settle for a life that looks spiritual on the outside but feels hollow within. It doesn't need to destroy your body, it only needs to convince you to die with your purpose still inside you. But here's what the legacy killer fears: relentless devotion. That unshakable fire that refuses to be silenced. The part of you that wakes up every day and says, there is more to give, more to give, more to become. The part of you that doesn't need applause or validation or perfect conditions. Just purpose. Just the sacred knowing that your life is not yours alone, it's a vessel for something greater. And so, if you are truly a dark chosen one, you must make a vow not just to survive, not just to awaken, but to leave a mark so deep that the system never forgets you were here. Speak louder. Love deeper. Create boldly. Move even when afraid. Because your legacy is not built in one moment, it is built in every moment you choose truth over comfort, purpose over approval, fire over fear. The world may never understand you. It may never celebrate you. But that was never the point. You weren't born to be understood. You were born to disrupt, to rebuild, to awaken. And if you let these 5 vampires win, you won't just lose yourself, you'll rob the world of what only you were meant to give. So I ask you one final time, will you die full of your gifts, or will you die empty, poured out, complete and eternal? The choice has always been yours.